Right then, Tamers, welcome back to another deck profile video. In today's video I am showing off my version of Marsmon from BT25's Dual Revolution. The deck itself I honestly thought was going to get overlooked and overshadowed by other decks in the set at the time. However, it's actually come out swinging very strongly. It's seeing quite good regional results, just generally. And as a red colour deck, it's probably one of the better ones out there. But as always, we'll dive straight on in with our Digi-Eggs, which in this case I'm just running a full play set of Tokomon from BT25. The when attacking is a once per turn effect of if this Digimon has the TS trait, you draw one card. This is ultimately going to be one of these eggs where it will be the bog standard for a TS related deck, especially just for the draw element. Alternatively, some of the other TS trait decks will have their own specific eggs, like, for example, Sunomon from the BT24 range for Jupiter. But then moving on to our rookies, I am running just 11 cards in total. So it's Tamers from BT24. It's a reveal top 3 cards, and then you add one Digimon card with a Charmin trait or the Beast, Animal, or Sovereign trait. And you also add one card with a TS trait among them to your hand. You bottom deck everything else. The when attacking is a once per turn, suspend one of your opponent's Digimon, which is extremely handy, especially as you're going to effectively OTK with this deck. But next up, I'm running 3 copies of Coronamon from BT25. It has a when moving and on play effect by trashing up to 2 Iliad or TS trait cards from your hand. You draw one card for each card trashed. And then the inherited effect is a your turn effect of this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP. Now, this particular card I'm using mainly just in case of the second turn. If I don't have the right cards I need, I will use this card to try and bump off some of the cards that are not needed and then try and find the pieces I do need. And it does work very well, but I'm also running 4 copies of Bearmon from BT25. What I consider to be the MVP of this deck, one of them, of course. There are a few, but ultimately, its start of main phase effect allows you to warp Digivolve into the next level for no cost, as long as you have 4 or less memory, and so long as you have the required trait, which in this case you will. The inherited effect is an all turns DP buffer of plus 1000 DP. Grizzlymon from BT25, I'm running 3 copies of him in regards to our champion level Digimon now. So it's on play, and when Digivolving effects that one of your Digimon with Beast, Animal, or Sovereign, or the TS trait, or Shaman trait, will gain raid and plus 3000 DP for the turn. Its inherited effects that all turns this Digimon gets plus 1000 DP, which is exactly the same as the Bearmon we previously saw. But I'm running a nice even split down the middle between this and the next version. However, the reason why is because I'm running 2 copies of Firemon from BT25. The on play and when Digivolving effects that by trashing one card in your hand, you may return one red or blue Iliad trait Digimon card from your trash back to your hand. So again, a nice recycle element in order for you to select the pieces if you don't have them, but it may possibly be in your trash. So it works very well for me. The second effect you're never going to use, but the inherited effect again is another DP boost of this Digimon gets plus 2000 DP, and that's a your turn effect only. But nice and simply, I'm also running 3 copies of Grizzlymon from BT25. The on play and when Digivolving effects that one of your Digimon with Beast, Animal, or Sovereign, other than Sea Animal, in any of its traits, or the Shaman or TS trait gets plus 3000 DP until the end of your opponent's turn. The inherited effect is that all turns once per turn, when this Digimon wins a battle, you draw 1. So regardless of barrier and things like that, ultimately it will still win the battle and you'll still draw 1. As for our ultimate level Digimon then, so this is where things get a little bit interesting. So Grapleomon from BT25. On play and when Digivolving, one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP for the turn. Then one of your Digimon may attack. All turns, when a Digimon with 13,000 DP or more attacks, this Digimon may Digivolve into Marsmon or Kalismon in the hand without paying the cost. Its inherited effect is extremely useful, however, which is the security attack plus 1. But the all turns effect is crucial for this deck, especially as you need to have that set up. But the next 4 I'm running is Great Grizzlymon from BT25. The on play and when Digivolving effect is that give one of your opponent's Digimon a start of main phase effect. This Digimon attacks until their turn ends. Now the all turns effect is that when this Digimon wins a battle, it may Digivolve into a Kalismon or Marsmon in the hand without paying the cost. The inherited effect is an all turns once per turn. But when this Digimon deletes your opponent's Digimon in battle, you trash their top security card. So both aggressive and you're forcing your opponent to swing. Marsmon is our boss monster for the deck. On play when Digivolving and when attacking is that one of your Digimon gets plus 3000 DP. Then one of your Digimon may battle one of your opponent's Digimon. The all turns once per turn is that when any of your TS trait Digimon win a battle, you trash your opponent's top security card. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the aggression level in this deck, because it can be any TS trait card. So as long as you win the battle, you're going to trash something. Next up, I'm running 3 copies of Marsmon from BT25. The card itself is the defensive version of Marsmon. So it comes with Reboot, Blocker, Fortitude. The on-play when Digivolving and when attacking, it's all the same effect. You may suspend one of your opponent's Digimon or Tamers. Then one of their Digimon or Tamers can't unsuspend until their turn ends. The all turns is once per turn, but when effects play or Digivolve any Digimon, you did Digivolve one of their Digimon, and then you may battle one of their Digimon. As for Tamers then, I am running 2 copies of Akio from BT11. Its on play is a top 4 searcher, and you add 1 red Digimon card with vaccine trait among them to your hand. Everything else gets bottom decked. But the your turn effect is where this card comes very, very handy. Now, when you play a red Digimon with Avian, Bird, Beast, Animal, or Sovereign, basically if it's been played by an effect, you suspend this Tamer, and then that Digimon gains Rush for the turn. Security effect, as always, with Tamers, you just play it without paying the cost. Next up, I'm running 3 Hirokos from BT24. The start of your turn effect is that if you have 4 or less memory, you can return this Tamer to the bottom of the deck in order to play out 1 Digimon from your hand, or another Hiroko, as long as it's got the TS trait and it has 5000 DP or less, and you basically play that Digimon without paying the cost, or that same Tamer. The on play is that you reveal the top 3 cards of the deck and you add 1 card with the TS trait among them to your hand, bottom deck everything else. But lastly, I'm also running 3 copies of Dan and Kanan from BT24. The start of your main phase is that if you have 4 or less memory, you gain 1. But at the end of your turn, by suspending this Tamer, you may use 1 TS trait option card with as high or lower a cost as your opponent's memory, and you do that without paying the cost. And then one of your Digimon with the TS trait may attack. So it's like a pseudo blitz and allows you to play out an option card. It's a crazy, crazy good TS Tamer. Right then, so for option cards, I am running a single copy of Ignition Flare from BT25. The main effect is that you delete all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest DP. And then if it didn't delete, you trash one of your opponent's option cards in the battle area. And then you may link this card to one of your Digimon on the field without paying the cost. The when attacking linking effect is delete one of your opponent's Digimon with as much DP as this Digimon or less. But I'm primarily using this card to get rid of pesky option cards. I'm also running 3 copies of Paradise Coliseum from BT25. Now the main effect in this case is that you add your bottom security card to your hand, you place this face up at the bottom, and then you basically play 1 red or green TS trait Digimon card from your hand with the cost reduced by 3. But the security effect all turns gives all of your red and green TS trait Digimon plus 2000 DP, and whilst you've got Marsmon or Marsmon in play, they also gain Rush. The security effect simply lets you play a level 4 or lower red or green TS trait Digimon card from your hand or trash without paying the cost. Iron Slash is my next 2 of. I think this is one of the best option cards in the game right now. But for reasons why, it's because D-Digivolve is still a massive problem to get around in this game. D-Digivolve 2, one of your opponent's Digimon. Then you may link this card to one of your Digimon on the field without paying the cost. The link effect in this case is both collision and piercing, which just goes hand in hand with how aggressive this deck can be when it comes to battling Digimon. And then, lastly, I'm running 3 copies of In Between Theatre from BT24. Now, if you're familiar with your memory boosts, that's effectively what this card is. You reveal the top 3 cards of the deck and you add 1 TS trait card among them to your hand. Bottom deck everything else. Then the second main effect is a delay only of gaining you 2 memory. Security effect, you simply place this card in the battle area. But like I said, if you're familiar with your memory boosts, that's effectively what this card is. Right then, Tamers, so our 50 card deck profile is now on the screen. It's got a lovely new background. Thank you for noticing. But ultimately use the image that you see on the screen here just to help you build your own versions of the deck. Copy and paste it, take cards out, put new ones in, things that you might think are relevant, and so on. But the deck itself is extremely strong right now. It is finding itself in the top 3 in most regional based events. It's most certainly capable of topping in your local scene. And whilst it can be fun to play. It may not necessarily be fun for your opponent to go against, so just bear that in mind. But otherwise, as always, guys, thank you so much for watching these videos. I certainly hope that this profile works wonders for your own. Leave a little comment below about what you think of the deck and whether you think there should be any changes made. If you like the content, naturally subscribe to the channel. But otherwise, I'm sure I'll see you all in the next one.